Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm back here by my side door of my office. Today is the 5th of July, and we had an eclipse this morning, very early here on the east coast of the U.S. For a lot of places. For a lot of places in the world, it actually happened on the 4th, but half and half, I guess. But full moons are always times of awareness, and when you add an eclipse, you heighten that. Everything gets heightened. The emotions get heightened. The awareness gets heightened. It's as if a door opens, and it's a door that we're being invited to move through. It's a door that we're being invited to take that leap of faith that we can create something better, right, on the other side of where we are right now. So it's a bit of a leap of faith. It feels like. But I thought what I would do is a reading on just for spirit, if spirit has anything it wants to say to us at this time that we find ourselves in. Do advice from spirit, or you know because we're not doing this on our own. Um, just as I can connect with you via YouTube. Our guides and can connect with us on different vibrations, right? So we're all right. We're all connected. Okay. All right. So this is okay. So this is, I guess, what spirit. The first thing spirit wants to say to us um, is the chariot. And this is an interesting card to get because the chariot is number 7, the 7th card, and it is associated with the sign of Cancer. And of course, the sun and is in Cancer for most of the month of July, which is the 7th month, right? And of course, we have Mercury retrograde in Cancer at this time. So the lens that we are experiencing life through is very, very emotional and very Cancerian. Um, and so that stresses the energy of Cancer. And Cancer has two energies: the energy to nurture, but Cancer is a cardinal sign, so the nurturance comes out of an urge to act, but not just for self. Like we get the urge to act for self when we're dealing with Mars, when we're dealing with the energy of Cancer. We're doing it because we have feelings for other, I guess, life forms at this point, because we have families now, right? So there's this energy of wanting to forward security for those people that you care about. And what's interesting is that more and more people, I feel anyway, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like more and more people are caring about one another. You know, we can see it in the protests in America, where it's not just black people protesting violence against black people, but it's multicultural, it's multiracial, it's multi-aged. It's just, um, people are claiming their right to love, just to help one another, to support, the right to community, the right to equality. That why should a black person's experience of the police be any different than a white person's experience of the police? Or why should a poor person experience the police different than a rich person, right? I mean, so this card says to me that it's time for us to get down to the work that we came here to do. The time is now. Get in your car. Well, metaphorical car. Because, right, we can't really, I mean, you can, but there are some places you can't drive. And there are some places you don't want to go, right, for different reasons. So, um, but it's time, right? It's time to get moving. That's what Spirit is saying on this full moon, lunar eclipse day. And the challenge. So this is very interesting. The challenge here is the Master of Swords, reading the web. In this deck, this card means your ability to read the signs and symbols, right? Read the omens, so to speak. And not just the omens like, ooh, spooky stuff, but also like read the scientific journals, become informed, learn something, become better informed about the situations. Don't necessarily say, "Oh, that's bull dinky," because you think you know something about it, but you don't really know anything about it. You know. So this is a time that the challenge is along with the activity. It's like walking and chewing gum at the same time. You have to be able to do sort of both those things. Read the clues as they come, as we're moving pretty quickly. And it's a challenge sometimes to read the web in that respect. It's a challenge that time. There's never going to really be a time when you have it all figured out. You just have to let that go, and you have to um, allow for the flow of life. A lot of times we utilize our minds to dam up the flow of life. You have all these things pictured and you have all this energy pictured. And sometimes we forget that, there's another part and we have to open up to that. And when you open your mental pictures to the flow of life, you get a fully expressed idea, thought, creative project, you know, because form without life is, you know, there's no power in it. And life without form, there's no, there's really no way of knowing self in a way, because then you're just part of this big ocean of consciousness. See what's at the root? What is the universe say is at the root here? Okay, and we have the Teacher of Cups here. It's called Exploring the Inner Landscape. So this is what Spirit is saying at the root of this, is that we have to really come to understand who we are at a deep emotional level. Figure out who we are. Um, go go there, right? You don't want to go there. Yeah, you want to go there. The difficult, the painful places, the places that most of us try to avoid. And oftentimes that avoidance of the pain that we feel becomes such an engine for you to run away from it, that you can create great things on the physical plane. You can create um, dynasties, or a beautiful home, or lots of wealth, or a great family. You you still have to come home every night with yourself. You still have to, um, decide to touch it or not. And the thing and what I mean by touch it is touch the inner pain, whatever it is that drives you. And I mean that drive, that like obsessive drive, like everybody has it. Some people have it a lot. They tend to be very successful. And some people have it in just little parts of their lives where they can obsess about a small thing, that, is just like a repository for this energy that you can't find another place for. Um, it's a good idea to, I think, look within, look into the family dynamic, explore, uh, do some reading. There's lots of videos, there's a lot of information now out there about narcissists and empaths. I don't know all the information, I haven't watched it all, but you can find some good stuff out there, you know, to help you understand the dynamics that you yourself might be in. There's all kinds of information out there. So while we might have to sort of weed through it a bit, we can't say, "Oh, I couldn't do anything because I couldn't find any information." That's an excuse you can't use anymore. It was an excuse you used to be able to use because not everybody had access to information. Now it's just a matter of will, right? It's a matter of wanting to change, wanting to do it, wanting to go there. So when I say go there, I mean go there. And Spirit wants us to go there. This is about a cleansing and a healing and a moving. It's like, pulling the band-aid off the boo-boo. It hurts, but at some point you got to do it. And if you tug it off, it's a little better than if you gradually peel it off, right? A little pain at a time, just one shock and you're done. And that's kind of what we find ourselves in. Let's see the past. What does Spirit have to say about the past? Spirit says this is the natural intimacy card, the Five of Cups. So this would be the sorrow card in the other decks. The guy with his, looking at the cups that have spills and having sorrow and grief over it. But this deck talks about um, the stuckness of the flow of life because of our relationship to our own sexuality, to our relationship to um, that physical part of ourselves, that we are not, we are all out of balance in that relationship. And that if we ever want true flow and really feel that sort of blissful, I'm in love kind of feeling, that, if you've ever been in love, you know what that feels like. Can you access that um, without, having to go through this, like, falling in love? There are other ways to be blissful, right? And I think that this card indicates that the more we can get in a better relationship with our physical self, our physical bodies, um, the healthier we'll be, the more stamina we'll have. There's a, I don't know if you can see it. I'm sorry about the, oops, sorry. I'm sorry about the, that I'm outside and it's not great lighting. But I don't know if you can see it. There's like a buck out in the background here. It's like a spirit buck. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. I think you can see it. So there's this life force that gets expressed when we allow the our physical bodies what they need, you know, the rest, the food, instead of trying to fit into somebody's, like, oh, you should look like this, and trying to fit your body into this preconceived mold, more about, being okay being in your body. Accept your body for its for all its little eccentricities, right? That old thing where you stand in front of the the mirror naked and tell all the parts of your body how much you love it. That's a beautiful thing to do. Some people can't do it at all. Some people think it's ridiculous. But this is the body you have. It's important that you love it. All right. Um, let's see what's available from Spirit in Spirit's reading. Okay, so we have the Three of um, Wands here. This is called, is it Wands? Yes, Three of Wands. It's called authentic nourishment. Authentic nourishment. And so this card being at the top of the reading says to me that if you are being true to yourself, nature, um, spirit will aid you. And even if you're not being true to yourself, spirit will also be there for you. Uh, but in a way, it's almost like spirit is there for you in a way, so that when you finally do make the connections that are necessary to have the awakening and the awareness, that spirit held you through that process, even if you weren't necessarily on board with spirit. It's still there to support you. Let's see our immediate future as per spirit. So we have the Four of Swords here. It's called stabilizing the mind. And I think that's what Spirit wants us to do. Spirit wants us to become more organized in our thinking. And I'll tell you what that I think is going to require. It's going to require a little less, maybe, getting information from outside sources and getting some information from inside sources. I want to say that um, there at least needs to be a balance, because I know there are times when I don't want to know anything that's going on out there. Um, so I want to, every now and again I have to close my eyes and be blind for a little bit, because it's just too much to take in, you know. And yet it needs to be taken in, and we need to strengthen our mind. So we need to do something that both stimulates our mind and strengthens our mind. And I think that, um, you know, learning stimulates, and meditating strengthens. It strengthens the vessel of the mind. And then you'll be able to see, like, through the color. You can see these. I sorry about that. This beautiful stained glass window. She's looking at. Well, I guess this is the original rose-colored glasses, right? Um, but I feel like in this card, it's like seeing life through the eyes of beauty. Seeing life through the eyes of beauty. I like that. So that's what Spirit has to say. Spirit has to say that we are on our way, that sometimes it's going to be difficult to keep up mentally and figuring things out all the time. We have to unite that that seven, that Cancer energy, that flow of life energy, with the um, practical or intellectual organization that comes with the Master of Swords, which in other decks is the King of Swords. So it's about life, and the balance of that which sort of holds uh, the structures together, right? How do you express this life force that's coming in productive ways, and in ways that aren't going to harm yourself or others, right? So that's the challenge. How do you do that? Then at the bottom, there's a crow. He wants to have something to say about this whole thing. He either thinks that this reading is absolutely on point, or he thinks it's a load of poop, crow poop. But now he stopped talking. So at the root of this, Spirit says we need to go to the places, but not to go alone. We don't have to go alone. You have to go to those deep, dark psychological places by yourself. There's help. There's aids. There's therapists. There's friends that you can talk to. There's guides that you can follow. There are prayers that you can say. There are stories and novels you can read that can inspire you um, to go there. You know that you have the strength. We need to get a lot of our problems are the fact that we can't accept pleasure in pleasureful ways, right? And that if we are truly who we are, the universe will um, support us. The universe will nourish us. The universe will help us find our way through these challenging times. And then ultimately looking through the eyes of beauty, uh, and seeing a more ideal world, and seeing uh, more positive possibilities. You know, there's a lot of this negative, everything's falling down, but there's just so much creativity and positivity on the other side of that, it's silly just to like worry. On a certain level, it's silly to worry about all this and this and this and this. It's like, yeah, well, while this happens, and while this happens, this happens. It's just that you don't hear about the other thing. And so you have to have faith maybe that it's happening, or you have to have a good source of news that talks about the good stuff and all the positivity coming out of this experience. They're out there. You just got to look for them. You're not going to find it, well, for the most part, I think, in cable news. But all right, guys, that was really fun. What a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon, just hanging out on this beautiful, breezy day. It's just absolutely gorgeous here. Nope, I'm talking to my followers. All right, I'm going to go, guys. Like and subscribe. Have yourself a great day. Enjoy this beautiful day, whether this beautiful day is actually beautiful, but it could always be beautiful in your mind. So go there. Go there. Take care.